Let's go to Canberra now and catch up with Susan McDonald. She's the Shadow Resources Minister. Thanks for joining us, Susan. I've got to get your thoughts first up on the legislation passing to ban the live sheep export trade. It's not a huge trade, but it's very important for those people involved in it. And when are we doing it so well as a country that we can afford to actually just legislate away an export industry?
That's exactly right, Chris. So the shutdown of the live sheep trade out of WA jeopardises the entire sheep business. So we've had this week shearers, truck drivers, sheep producers, even sheep processors, because they all understand that live export trade is part of a whole successful industry. I had a vet say to me, I came over ready to talk about our animal welfare improvements, why this is a great industry, but the government just wasn't interested. And they're not. They're not interested in what real outcomes are for farmers in Western Australia and right across the country. And I think that's why this is so powerful, this Keep the Sheep movement, is because farmers right across Australia are saying this government is driving up input costs. They're not protecting them from supermarkets. They are just leaving farmers and farming out to dry. So I think that the Keep the Sheep program is really important, Chris.
Look, it's just ridiculous. I mean, sheep are transported around on trucks to abattoirs every day in this country, and we reckon it's too much to put them on a ship. And of course, we have the best animal welfare standards you'd expect in the country. Listen to Pauline Hanson on this issue.
I'm sure McKim's had a piece of pork in his mouth, or he's had some goat, or he's had some cattle or a steak at some time in his life. Now he's denying the fact of sheep, talking as if they are, they're human beings. They're not human beings. It is a food source, a necessary food source. Because I, for one, I don't want to spend the rest of my life eating bloody bugs.
Yeah, well said, Pauline Hanson. Now, this legislation sees the industry phased out by 2028. If the coalition returns to government, will you reinstate the industry? How much damage could be done in the interim?
Yeah, well, we absolutely have committed to restarting the live export trade for sheep out of Western Australia. But not just that, Chris, because it underlines the support that we have for the sheep industry in Western Australia more broadly. So this is an important decision. There will be damage done, and we are saying to sheep producers, stay confident, stay strong. They will be campaigning at the next election to change the government, particularly in Western Australia. We're going to watch that with interest and support them however we can.
Now, just quickly on your area, when it comes to energy and resources, the government has this capacity investment scheme where they hand out money to fund essentially schemes to bolster our electricity supplies when renewables aren't supplying it. Yet gas is excluded. Surely gas is the #1 way for this country to firm up renewable energy.
Oh, that's exactly right. You've already touched on 80% of electricity is coming from coal currently. But the next most important source of electricity is gas. It's reliable, it's affordable, and it will reduce emissions. These are all reasons why the gas industry, we should be encouraging investment. But over the last 2 years, this Labor government has done everything they can to make it harder to invest in Australia, harder to invest in important gas projects that give Australians jobs, Australians more taxes and royalties, and best of all, Chris, reliable, affordable electricity, which apparently, if you listen to the Greens and the crossbench, magically grows on trees. But it is only when we have a good baseload dispatchable power that we can all continue to enjoy the lifestyle that we have, keep the lights on in hospitals, keep important medical services going,
Crazy
keep
stuff.
manufacturing jobs going, Chris.
Absolutely.
Manufacturing jobs, yeah.
Thanks for joining us, Susan. I appreciate it.